Welcome. Ooh, sorry to scare you, Riv. Um, welcome, Fantasy Balls. Ooh, can't really see the top of my head. This is a terrible start, eh? Welcome, Fantasy Balls managers. Very special final edition of this year's recap. Um, lots going on. Not really lots going on, let's be honest. But I'm gonna cover a lot of things. You'll see here I have my phone that I will be referring to. I asked for some quotes from some of our managers. Not everybody, so don't feel left out. Just the people that I feel had a real story to them. You know. So let's get into it. I'd like to thank all of you, all you managers that came in every week and tried your ass off and put in the effort. Fixed your lineups regularly, if not every day, but regularly. Put in an effort, had some kind of effect in this league. So I'd like to thank all of you, and then of course also John for participating. I know it's not for everybody, but you were there, John. You were there. And we'll get into John, because lots of accusations. So I will say today as a video is probably definitely going to be a little bit longer. I can't really tell. This is a purple shirt, by the way. I really like it. It's like my Tiger Woods, like red, but for purple. So lots to go through. We got 2 rounds of playoff games to go through, and then kind of encapsulate the season, some quotes, some stuff here and there. So we got lots to go through. We're starting with the second round of the playoffs. If you remember, skipped last week. I didn't do one last week. Again, there were really only 2 games that mattered. I figured I'd wait, let the emotions die down a little bit, and then come back and do that with the final. The 2 important games, we had placeholder and Team Sternly. Boy, was this a fucking good one, eh? Cameron's only one where Cameron really felt a tickle in his butthole in a little while. Jake put up a fight. Looks like 18.5 point differential. For Cameron, the last, 13 weeks, it was like, I think the last 11 weeks of the regular season and then the playoffs. This is the closest matchup Cameron had in a couple of weeks. So you really got to tip your hat to Jake. Don't know if he did anything special. Ronald Acuna had 36. So it's not like any single person went insanely well. Cameron's best scorer, Pat, I don't even know this guy's first name. Is it Pat Fairbanks? Pete Fairbanks. Fucking Tampa Rays pitcher. 35 points. So it's not like Jake's team just went insanely well. Cameron's 3 top scorers had more than Jake's 3 top scorers. So, Cameron still had a great week. They both put up 360. Obviously, Cameron ended up with 380. And Cameron continued to head into the final. But hell, that's a fucking game right there, Jake. Hats off to you, kid. We do have a quote from Jake, the man himself. I'm doing direct quotes for these. I'm not, no subtext, no nothing, right? John's called me out a bit, so I'm making sure that all of these are direct quotes from my question to the answers, right? So I asked, Mr. Stern, real official here. That's how, if I ever ask you a question and I call you Mr., your last name, no, it's for fantasy. No, it's going into the recap. I try to be official for these. So Mr. Stern, I said, I don't remember where your team finished last year, but this season your team did very well. In the regular season, came incredibly close to a championship game. Any comment on how this MLB season went for your guys? That's what I asked him. That's what I says. I said it. And this was manager, owner, coach Stern answer. He said, my team played great. Played a great season. My Jesus. Rough start for the quotes. My team played a great season, and we gave it our all till the end. We got beat by a better team, plain and simple. The front office will learn from this year's lessons and move forward. Upward and onward to football season. Roll Badgers. A lot to unpack here. One, I can't speak fucking English or read English, apparently. Chumba's going to have a field day with me quoting that. I can tell it already. The fact that I said I can't read English right there, Chumba's gonna eat that one up. But still, this is a real classy move by Mr. Stern, acknowledging that, just a better team. We're not always the best team, and I think it takes a lot of class to admit that, especially coming so close to the championship. But learning from it, moving forward, already looking forward, Jesus Christ, to football season. Not to jump into football too much, right? But the Badgers are 0-1. So I guess didn't learn too much. Maybe the lessons just haven't come out yet. I don't know. But great season from Jake here. I don't remember where Jake placed last year again. Chumba was in charge of that league, so I can't just pull it up and look at it. But absolutely hats off to Jake. Classy move, classy quote. We love to see it. Then, this one's a little tough for me, boys. Not gonna lie. Cause I don't know what happened. In the other semifinal game, it was myself going head to head with Lazy Team Name, and I got my ass ate. Like not in a good way. If you've seen my ass, you wouldn't want to get in there and eat it. It's real hairy. So it's not a good thing for me. I know some people might like it. Not my thing. And I don't know who would want to get up in there. But Jesus Christ, Eddie went off. Just absolutely had a game. He had 2 people score 41 points and a third score 38. My highest score was 21. Stephen Kwan. If you know Stephen Kwan, if he's your top scorer in fantasy, you're not having a good week. I tried, I competed, my pitchers just didn't show up. I had no pitching. The day that I hoped that I could make a comeback, Eddie had a complete game shutout, pitched against me, 1 hitter, or 2 hitter, something like that. So it was just a real disappointing end to our season. I was the defending champ. I finished in first place in my division, and to go down over 100-point loss in the semifinals to a third place 500 team, it's embarrassing. But Eddie coached his ass off in that one. Coach Cramsey really came through and just fucked shit up. There's no other way around it. Really dominated, really handed it to me. So great coach game there by Eddie. But you can bet that I had quite the conversation with my fellas in the locker room after that game ended, because it just, like, what the fuck, basically. Sure enough, my guys showed up again the following week a little bit better, but still Eddie would have beat me even this week. I mean, I didn't really pay too much attention, but whatever. So our final was Eddie versus Cameron, and once again, Cameron just ran away with it. Hell of a game by Cameron. Again, putting up 425 points. That last 11 game streak of the regular season and then 2 playoff games, Cameron really just came in and kicked ass to show us, what it's all about. It's really tough because, Cameron has all this knowledge, but he doesn't do fantasy so much. Here's my question to Cameron. Owner GM Donachie, care to comment on your team's success this season, having officially come out on top? How do you see your probable absence in next year's league affecting your legacy in the Fantasy Balls record books? For those of you that don't know, Cameron is probably not going to be in the Fantasy League next year due to him doing the Pacific Trail. He's going to be gone, not in Wi-Fi. He's probably not. There's just no logical way that it will happen. Cameron said, it took the boys a little while to get fired up and start playing well, as I knew they could, but after week 11, we started piecing it together and never looked back. I haven't played any sort of fantasy sports in 8 years, and this was a good return that would to that world, but I will be returning to retirement in order to give someone else a chance to win again. So again, it's a move coming out of retirement for one season, winning it all, and then going back into retirement. It's a fucking look. You gotta, hats off to the kid. Absolutely just coming through, as he said, those last 11 weeks. Man, before then, Cameron was like the 5th or 6th top scorer, and ever since that last, couple of weeks, shot up the record book for points scored. I was second for points scoring. It looks like close to 300 point difference. It's just, he also had the highest point differential at plus 58.5 per game. Or maybe not per game. Sorry, that's not correct. Maybe it is per game. Yeah, it is per game. So, because, it's based on averages per game. So, based on his points for versus points against average per game, he had the highest differential of 58.5. Griff actually had second for that at 44.6, but we'll get into Griff. As for Eddie, did I forget his quote? Did I forget to screenshot it? No, here it is. So Eddie had a great strategy going into this game. Saturday night, Eddie had one start left, and he chose to exploit a loophole, or tried to exploit a loophole and put a bunch of starting pitchers in the hope that they'd score enough to catch him up to Cameron in the final. Real big brain move from Eddie. Fortunately, it just didn't work this time, but wow, you got to respect the effort that this kid was putting in. Right there at the end was quite the gap. He did end up outscoring Cam that day for Sunday alone, but overall could not pull out the W. So, Mr. Cramsey, so close. You could almost taste it this season. What emotion is your franchise going through right now, getting so close to your ultimate goal? And, real cocky answer here. You got to question it. You wonder what's going through this guy's head. He goes, to be honest, didn't pay full attention until I was potentially going to be in the playoffs. Wow. With a few great pitchers and some great clubhouse guys, we made a real run. Not happy with the final result, but very proud of my team's effort that they put in and week out. Just a wild statement there from the runner-up, claiming he didn't pay attention all season. I mean, he did finish 10-10, as I mentioned throughout the year. Some weeks Eddie really kicked ass. Other weeks he was just not there. So maybe it's true. Maybe it's plausible that that's a factual statement. But real cocky answer there, coming from the number 2 guy. I will say that, not that it really super matters, I'll go through the rundown. I did beat Jake in the 3rd place consolation game. I don't think Jake and I really either paid attention. I think I set my lineup like twice this week. Not that it really made a difference. Connor beat Griff in the 4th or the 5th, 6th place game. We have a comment from Griff as well. For those of you that don't remember, Griff was the runner-up in last season. So, Mr. Wallach, your franchise went from losing in the finals in 2022 to losing in the first round of the playoffs in 2023. What do you have to say for the performance of your team this last 2 seasons? Little surprised, Griff said, you mean I didn't win? ? Obviously some satire there from Griff, the funny grandpa. He's adorable. Love this guy. Happy with my team's performance. Never going to complain about a 13-6-1 season. Still mad about that tie that we had, Griff. I understand. I would have liked to win the division and get that bye. I'm going to blame my shortcomings this season on the playoff expansion and my team just not being good enough, but definitely that first point more. So, again, looking inward here, taking on the blame, trying to deflect a little bit, but overall, he's blaming I honestly, this is the first time I'm reading this answer. So yeah, he's trying to blame the expanded playoffs more than his own team's effort. I guess he takes a little bit of blame, but still kind of a sus move, Griff, trying to blame the season and the playoff bracket rather than take it on the chin like a man. But I'm not in charge. I'm not in charge. So real quick, I'm going to run through the final rankings. We had 1, Cameron came in first, Eddie came in second, I came in third, Jake in fourth, Connor in fifth, Griff in sixth, Alec in seventh, Chumba in eighth, Brochard in ninth, John 10th. Shocker there. 2 more quotes I believe I have for you. First, from the newcomer, Justin Brochard himself. I did ask him this following question. Mr. Brochard, quite the season for your franchise this year. Finished at 10-10, but ultimately finishing in 9th place, while the other 10-10 team made it to the championship. Any comment about how this season went for you and your team as a brand new franchise in this league? Brochard's response, plain and simple. The league is racist. We got a racist league. He's the only non-white in this league, at least. I said, is that all you have to say about the baseball season? Do you care to elaborate at all? To which he said, what's understood doesn't need to be explained. So, racist league, apparently. Don't know what to do about that, if I'm being honest. And then, obviously, we're going to finish with the bottom team, 1-19, lowest scorer, not even, if you look at it, he did have the most points scored against him. Lowest scorer, most points scored against him, just doomed from the start. John Juiced Balls Cornobis, a negative 87.5 point differential based on averages. I asked owner GM Cornobis, care to make any comment on the baseball season now that it's over and you've finished dead last with only 1 win in the entire season? That was my quote, word for word, sentence for sentence, exact question. Care to comment on the baseball season now that it's over and you finished dead last with only 1 win the entire season? John's response was, fucked up question. I said, is that your answer? He said, low-hanging fruit. I said, I'm just trying to get quotes, your chance to share your side. And he sent me the Nick Saban, I'm not going to, so quit asking. So, John all day long, whine about league is against him, league's out to get him. Here I am, giving him a chance to speak his side, speak his mind, tell me what's happening, tell the league, share the facts, give him a platform to speak from, and he refuses. I think it's telling. I really do. I try. I do what I can for Cornobis. But I would also like to add that Cameron had a second quote that I didn't add in because I was waiting and I didn't screenshot it, so now I have to find. There it is. Cameron would also like to add, in reference to John, that he is officially off of Cameron's eventual wedding invite list for his lack of commitment for the league. So again, all season long, league office tried to think of ways to motivate Cornobis, to get him in the game, get his head in the game, fight for that win. Couldn't do it, and now John's getting punished. Not going to be invited to the wedding. It's a real blow to John's morale, I bet. We hope to see Team Cornobis come out and fight in fantasy football. I will say that John is having quite the moment here today, right now, in our matchup. Again, we are Game of the Week. I'm not covering it in depth, but John and I are just a few points apart, and he only has his defense left. It's very, very close. So if his defense can hold out and make it, we are currently 3 points separated. And he's got 10:25 left in the third for the Saints. So John's already on a 1-0 start for fantasy football, has a shot for 2-0. It's going to be down to the wire. I'm not going to lie. I'm a little Little on edge just because they're playing Carolina. But whatever. We're doing baseball. So great baseball season. I know this 20 minutes already. This is a long recap. Lots to go into the final. Real proud of all you boys. Cameron and Eddie, you've already gotten your pay from your winnings from winning. Congrats to you. Congrats to everybody. John, you were there. I don't know what you want from me, buddy. Every week I know I shit on you, but like you went 1-19, dude. And then you lost every single game in the playoffs too. And I'm sure you didn't even look. I'm sure you got to like 0-2 and were just like fuck it and gave up. There was like 1 week where you had a chance and it was like week like 17 or something. But like at that time it was already too late. So great season, hell of a season, lots of great highlights, great points, great moments. We're looking forward to fantasy football again. Brochard coming in, taking over Jimmy's spot. Not Alex, Justin Runge, the return of the king, coming back for fantasy football, defending his crown. I believe he's also 1-0, maybe. I don't know. Again, it's early in fantasy football. So best of luck to everybody in football. Cameron, congratulations on the W. Great push at the end of the year. Absolutely fantastic work. League is racist. Don't forget it. We'll catch you next. I'm not racist. The league. Not like the league office. The league is allegedly racist to Justin Brochard. Allegedly. Not me. The league. I know I'm the commissioner, but I'm not